Hi everyone, welcome to episode 5. I was going to say 4 then. I know our team is not doing that well, but hopefully we can all, you know, sit down and talk about it together, and hopefully we'll be all right. It's like a therapy group session that we do all the time. We have a very special guest on today, so I am very happy to announce him to the channel as well. So let's get right into it. Hi Ryan, hi Toby, how are you?
Good, thanks. Well, as good as you can be, to be honest. But yeah,
Other than Tottenham, I guess we're good.
yeah, literally.
So today we've got a very special guest on. Toby's been doing this now 2 weeks with my special guests, but Ryan, you're new to the new way of doing it. So we've got our special guest on, which is Chris Cowling. Everyone in the Spurs world knows him. One of the most iconic YouTubers around that's doing all the Spurs stadium stuff. That's where I first watched your stuff. So how are you, Chris? Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Obviously, Tottenham losing 5 out of our last 6 Premier League games. Of course, we've all been very down in the dumps, but it's how we turn this around now.
It's all about turning it around and what the best way about that is. So we're going to talk a little bit about West Ham because obviously that wasn't a good result again. But we did play some all right football in the second half. So, it's almost like, what do we do now? Where do we go? Toby, how did you find the game as a whole? Do you think people are over exaggerating how well that game went, or do you think it was all right? Or what's your thoughts?
I do think people are over exaggerating. I think the first half was awful. I don't care that we had 10 attempts at goal. The first half was awful. It was weird, 10 attempts, but yet we barely looked like scoring. Ndombele, I thought he was poor. Højbjerg looks tired, jaded off the pace, sloppy on the ball, sloppy off the ball. Lucas Moura just running into cul-de-sacs. His goal won't make me tell the truth. I don't think he played well.
I know, yeah. It was such a false image.
Yeah, and then Son and Kane, I don't think they played well as well. I'm just gonna be honest. I think Kane was quite poor. I think he was poor. He was poorer than Son. But I felt Son, when he got the ball, he tried to do a little something, but I didn't really rate the first half performance. Second half performance was better, obviously, and I feel like a large part of that was down to Gareth Bale coming on, because I felt like even though we were getting a lot of attempts, I know we ended it with 20 attempts. Most of those attempts were dead pot shots or wide off the mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt like when Bale, the only time we looked like we could properly put sustained pressure on them was when Bale came on, because they literally couldn't touch him. Like him and Tanganga were probably the only 2 positives I can take away from that game, because when he came on, they couldn't touch him. He was playing with intent. He was playing with this mean streak that we saw in the Europa League match and we saw against West Ham, but we hadn't seen at all this season. So that was really good to see, like not just his dribbling, his shooting, his passing. It was his pass that put Harry Kane through on that right-hand side. And then another example of why I felt Kane was poor. A sharper and normal Harry Kane plays that cross in first time and we get our equalizer. Exactly. So for me, the second half was good. Second half was decent. First half was awful.
Yeah, I also think that second half kind of came a bit too late. Why do we have to go down to that extent to then start playing some football? That's where I get a bit annoyed with the way we play. Ryan, what did you make of the West Ham game? I know we spoke a bit about it already, but yeah, give us your thoughts.
I'm same as Toby. I think the only shining light from that game was Bale. I think he's the only one. I think Tanganga had a good half, but the only problem with Tanganga is he's not the attacking right back that you know is going to overlap, whip balls into the box. He's probably the best defender we've got at the minute.
Yeah.
But playing at right back, you want someone a bit more adventurous like Aurier. At least when he's on, you know he's going to get put crosses in. But the first half was diabolical. That's the only word I can think of to describe that first half. It's like we had to come out fighting back. I don't think we could have come out playing worse in the second half. It's not, and I know it's not the main London derby, but that is West Ham's derby. That is West Ham. You would expect more fight from the likes of Kane and Son, who know what that derby means to them. So it should equally mean as much to us as it does them, just to leave with the victory.
Yeah, and I think it's quite ironic how it was almost our cup final rather than theirs. I think that's telling on where we are right now. Chris, I'm going to come to you. Do you think we're just being a bit negative, or do you? How do you feel that game went? Do you think it went better than what we're saying?
I completely agree with Toby. Actually, I think the first half was very dismal. It took us to the 43rd minute to have a shot on target, and that was through Eric Lamela. It just seems to take us so long to get going now in games, and like you've said, to go down 2-0 and then suddenly to come alive. Yes, it was a great second half. Gareth Bale coming on and changing the game, and it's funny now how we want to rest him for the Europa League game because we've got that Burnley game, which is very, very important on Sunday. But what Ryan just said there about a London derby. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, every single player should be up for every single game in the Premier League. But when you're playing one of your rivals, it's like going to war. It is, you want to see the passion in the game. Every single Spurs fan wants to see, those crunching tackles, the intensity, very high pressing. You want to see the real passion in the games. And we just haven't seen that of late. Certainly in that first half, it was very, very disappointing. And then to come out in the second half and then concede straight away,
honestly,
truly disappointing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But Gareth Bale, it was a really good 45 minutes from him. We've seen glimpses. It's just such a shame that it is February before we've seen this. But let's hope that this end of the season now we do see so much more of him, and we really do need that magic spark from him.
Yeah, this is the thing. I always say, was it a fitness issue, or was he just too attacking as to why Gareth Bale hasn't been playing? And he showed such good quality. He literally came out and was flying. So what do we think? Obviously, there's a lot of conversation. Kind of had this yesterday on Chris's channel. Definitely go check it out if you're watching, because that was fiery. But yeah, obviously we're hearing that Jose Mourinho's on the brink right now. He's got 4 games, apparently so, to turn it around. What are your thoughts? Do we think that he can turn it around, or do we think he's just totally checked out? He's saying he's not. Toby, I'm going to come to you first. Obviously, we all know we're not the biggest fans of Jose Mourinho on this podcast, but just in general, what do you think that he's trying to do here? Is he going to try turn it around, or is he done?
For me, he's done. He's been done for a long time. I didn't want him in the job in the first place, but honestly, whether the club will sack him is a different question altogether. We know how much Daniel Levy wanted him. We know that he is being pulled down by a lot of dross in our team that are just not as good as what we thought we were, or what we thought they were, and are just downright self-sabotaging us week in, week out. So it's not even a sympathetic thing. It's more a case of, I feel that we need a change. We need a change in management, because it's 6 losses in 7 now. On top of the fact that he was never the type of manager to maximize the best out of, no disrespect to them, poor players. So for me, I feel like the first step to move forward, to get us into a better position, would be to sack him. I think we know we need to get rid of the players, but we can't get rid of any of the players right now. We'll have to wait until the summer to do that. We know that the board have a lot to answer for, but I feel like the board can make the best or the first decision along a list of subsequent decisions and actions that they need to take to actually get us to where we want to be by getting rid of him. Sack him and bring in someone reputable who can at least try and steady the ship and get us closer to our goals from now until the end of the season. Give us an initial lift, and then you attack the surrounding factors in the summer, and you attack them aggressively. That's my take anyway.
Yeah, you're 100% correct in my opinion. I feel like this whole notion of he's got to a final, I understand that, and yeah, thank you for that. But honestly, one win in the last 6, or is it 7 or 6? It's a really bad stat. I one win in 6 regardless is terrible. And that win coming at home to West Brom, we should be doing that anyway. Chris, I'm going to come to you on this. What do you think should happen with all this? Like, what are your stances? Are you like in or out? I know we spoke yesterday, but this channel don't know.
Do you know, I've gone full circle on this, and I'm firmly sat on the fence, I'm afraid, at the moment, because of course we've got that League Cup final coming up, and if you think that if there is any manager to get Tottenham Hotspur over the line, and I'm a fan very much that I love trophies. You know, my favourite word on my channel is trophies. I want to see trophies at my club. Now, when you're going to sack someone like Maurizio Pochettino, who, in my opinion, done absolute wonders at Spurs, you know, finishing the top 4 constantly, which is a board requirement.
Yeah.
If he didn't spend a penny in 518 days, he took us to a Champions League final. If you're then not going to give a manager like that time to succeed and turn things around, you then bring in Jose Mourinho, a serial winner.
Yeah.
If we can't do it under Maurizio Pochettino, and we can't turn this around and win trophies under Jose Mourinho, then what is next? I know there's lots of talk about Julian Naglesmann coming in, you know, possibly being lined up as the next Tottenham Hotspur manager. But as far as me saying whether I want Jose Mourinho in or out, I can see lots of positives why he should be here, and then I can see lots of negatives why he shouldn't. So I think it is very balanced at the moment, and I just can't work out whether I want him in or out. But like Toby said, you know, the amount of games that we have lost, you know, 5 out of our last 6 Premier League games, what manager in the Premier League, or certainly what previous Tottenham Hotspur manager, would have been given time? I think it's because it is Jose Mourinho, and I think that it's also, who do you bring in now? Do Tottenham Hotspur wait until the end of the season? Probably, if they're going to make that change. And then, you know, Jose Mourinho comes out so many times, and I think he is so confident about winning the Europa League. I know it's a long way off, and there's a lot of very good teams left in that competition, but
United, there's still teams, that Premier League teams, like even Arsenal ain't easy for us. Like, you know, it's mad that he says that.
But that Manchester City game, it seems very, very daunting. You know, they're flying high at the top of the Premier League right now, playing some super football as well. But going into a cup final, that is the only you know, real positive for me. You've got Jose Mourinho as the manager. You know, can he get us over that line and deliver that first trophy in 13 years? I'm really hoping so, but it's a very difficult one. I know the fans, you know, the Spurs fans are very, very mixed. You know, whatever opinion you have on Jose Mourinho, whether in, out, whatever, you cannot win. You know, someone's going to be against you, and it's a very, very difficult situation right now.
Do you think he should stay past that final regarding, let's say the miracle happens and we win it?
The thing is, Eleanor, the thing is, it's a board requirement to finish in the top 4. You know, Jose Mourinho, he came in November 19. You know, it wasn't a first full season, but he scraped us through to the Europa League. In my opinion, if he doesn't reach top 4, which looks very bleak right now, you know, after these results, then surely, you know, if Maurizio Pochettino or another manager was in, would they get the time? I don't think they would. So no, I don't think so.
What I would say on that as well is the reason why we sacked Poch so quickly with such, you know, it was like, right, we're 14th, we need to sack him now, is because they saw that we could rectify it and make top 4 still. I mean, the doc all says that anyway. It's all about how many points we're away top 4. So it's quite funny that now it's like, oh, that's not a requirement anymore. We don't have to worry. That was the reason why we sacked Poch in the first place, was because we were nowhere near top 4.
Yeah, I think to not to even defend Jose, but it's going to sound like I'm defending him, but I feel like you have to factor in the quality of the players as well, because his prerequisite was to get top 4 off the notion that this squad was good enough to get top 4. And at the start of the season, after the transfer window we all as fans, we all said, we still missed out on the top centre back. The squad still isn't perfect, but we feel like it's good enough to get top 4. But a lot of players have continued their poor form into this season, and it's got to a point where it's not form anymore. We can't call this form anymore. This is just who they are, and they're getting worse and worse and worse, and they're lumbering the team down. So you're watching this week in, week out, and it's becoming evidently clear that this isn't a squad that has a divine right to be in the top 4. So for me, whilst that is his prerequisite, and we will want top 4, and I still think he should be challenging for top 4, this is no longer a squad that is automatically dead certs to get top 4, because we just don't have enough quality in the team to, in comparison to Chelsea, in comparison to Liverpool, in comparison to Man City, in comparison to Man United. But then again, to play devil's advocate, to my point, playing devil's advocate, Leicester, their squad is not too dissimilar to ours in terms of quality, and they're what, 2nd or 3rd in the table. West Ham their squad is much inferior to ours, and they're 4th in the table.
Agree.
And even if top 4 is, even if we're not in the top 4, we are better than 9th. We're better than 5 losses in 6. So something needs to give.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would say is I kind of put that on Jose, that he said this window was great. He praised Daniel Levy. He said he could make top 4 and a cup with this squad. So I don't see how we can't put it on the manager for overestimating or just not seeing the talent. And I know you would, Toby. I'm just saying in general, like, you know, Ryan, I'm going to come to you. What do you think on all this? Like, do you think the whole top 4 thing is a factor? Because a lot of fans say he's just here for a trophy, but I do get he's on 15 million a season if we're to believe the rumours. I think top 4 is a requirement for him, and I think that's why we sacked Poch so early.
Champions League is a requirement for sure. Champions League.
Well, Europa is the way.
Oh yeah, I do think he has solely been brought in to break this trophy curse that we seem to have. I do think he's same, to just add on to everything else about the sacking. I don't see him going until the summer. I do still think Levy is so starstruck that the 4 games we've been given to turn it around, I don't think we will have an easier run till the end. I think it's the easiest run of games we've now got till the end of the season. So I do think he'll still be with us, because, like I say, if we do win these games, what was it? I think Burnley, Fulham, Palace.
Burnley, Palace, and then we've got Arsenal. Who have we got after that? Is it Fulham?
Newcastle.
These games, if we do go on a good run, if we get 4 wins, and we are quite possibly straight back into that top 4 mix, a few points off. I do think Levy is hoping now for the absolute best possible. I said, it'll be here for the Carabao Cup final, 100%. I do not. I think the biggest problem he will have in sacking terms is if we go out of the Europa League the next round. If he doesn't get through that, and we are still 6-7 points off, then I do think he'll pull the plug on it, get rid of him. But it's like Toby said, the squad is just not. It's just not good enough. I think he was happy with the players we got. I just don't think he counted on the players that we already had. That's the biggest problem. We lost out on Ruben Diaz, who's obviously changed Manchester City's defense completely.
Yeah.
If you went out, if he got,
you mean we didn't cuff up? We didn't cuff up the money. You mean?
Well, yeah. I don't think we'll ever really in through. I mean, I can sit there and say I want Messi.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. That's the only problem with it. I am definitely Jose out, whether that upsets people on Twitter or other streams. It's to be upset by all means. I do want him out because he is not the manager we need to rebuild this squad. We was warned by the last manager. This team needs a big overhaul, and I think since then the only real main player we've let go is Eriksen out of this massive. We kept
him too long, and we lost money on him. Yeah,
Vertonghen's gone, and obviously Danny Rose is in exile. So 3 of them, it's
Dele Alli's going to join
it.
That's all.
Just another point.
If the board was serious, carry on, Tobes.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
You know, all I was going to say is if the board was serious about backing Jose, then Dele would have been gone in January because that's what he wanted.
And
so
Ndombele would have been gone last season.
Yeah. No, not necessarily.
Yeah, so even shipping players not done.
Yeah, but I think on this as well, though. Again, I'm like yourself, Ryan. I'm firmly Jose out. I want him to go, but when a club gets into this situation where everything is going wrong, it can't just be one person, and that's my worry. That's my biggest worry, that we sack Jose Mourinho deservedly, and then when the new manager comes in, that new manager is then lumbered with these players. Fuad, he recently said it on his YouTube channel as well, and ever since he said that point, it's stuck in my head, and that's the worst. That's the worst possible outcome. And I think, like I said at the start, when everything goes pear-shaped at a club like it is with us, one person is not going to fix all that.
Yeah,
one person at the top can set the direction to, but the board culpable for their mistakes in the transfer window and their ability, their reluctance to sell some of these players that aren't good enough. The manager for underperforming at his job, and some of the players as well. Like we looked at that window as well. I know you, Eleanor, you mentioned that Jose Mourinho said that he was happy with the window. As fans, we were happy with that window as well. We wanted, of course, we knew we needed more centre backs. We knew going into the season that centre back was still the weakest part of the team, but we were happy everywhere else. But the right back that I thought it was going to be amazing, Matt Doherty, he's been terrible this season.
Absolutely terrible. And apparently now that means he's not a Jose Mourinho signing just because he's not very good. It's a joke.
Yeah, but the thing is, he is a Jose Mourinho signing.
Yes,
Mourinho wanted him, but Mourinho did not factor in how bad he was going to be. I didn't factor in how bad he's going to be. And it's the same for Gareth Bale as well. We all wanted Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was a Mourinho signing. Mourinho wanted him at Real Madrid, or when he was at Real Madrid. But Gareth Bale, the performances we saw from when he was fit up until maybe 3 weeks ago was not acceptable. So as I said, Jose is not the only issue. He is one of the issues. He needs to be nipped in the bud, so he needs to go. The board needs to fix up or sell up, and the players need to be shipped out and replaced. Yeah, it's not one thing; it's a bunch of things.
It's one of the reasons, actually, Toby. That's why I'm so on the fence, because I think that if a new manager was to come in tomorrow, as you say, those problems are still there. You know, we've got players that aren't good enough to play for us. We've got a manager that sometimes plays, very negative football because he's trying to get the best out of the players that we've got. And then, of course, the board have not invested in previous years. We can go on about Mauricio Pochettino's time at Spurs, until we're blue in the face, but the situation is just going to be a circle yet again for any manager coming in. Pochettino said, it's all right having this mansion, this glorious new stadium, but you've got to have the furniture to put in it. And we've always gone on the cheap. A lot of the time, but you talk about Bruno Fernandes, for example. We could have had Bruno Fernandes, but we signed Jedson Fernandes. It's like talking cheese, completely different players.
Honestly,
that was
my
crazy.
point is to that.
Crazy.
My point is that I feel like Daniel Levy needs to move off the football side of things and just stay on the business side of things at Tottenham, because he's a great businessman. He can stay and do his job because he's very good at doing his job. But when it comes to doing football things, it's not that good. We've got to look at Leicester and try and emulate the way they do things, because realistically, who's going to fork out the money to buy us right now? Nobody. So in my opinion, we need to start doing some better recruitment. We need a DOF. We need to move Levy off anything to do with anything on the pitch and get someone in that can actually manage that side of things, because you can buy quality. But if we're going to be this club that don't buy ready-made world stars like your Bruno Fernandes is, that maybe not a star, but I knew him. Like, I knew he was a brilliant player. Maybe not those sort of things, but we can go and buy players that are a little bit less. But we need better recruitment. I just feel like recruitment is such an issue at Tottenham Hotspur.
Everything is an issue. And this goes back to the main point. Everything is an issue. Those Jose-ianners who seem to think that because you're saying Jose Mourinho out, that means that you're not focusing on the other issues. Everything is an issue. It's
honestly
not. We've said it repeatedly on this pod. Even when Jose Mourinho leaves, there needs to be an attitude shift from Daniel Levy and Enoch.
Yeah.
There needs to be a plan from the top down in terms of how to recruit players, and taking more risk with players as well. That's a big thing with us. We're too risk averse, and it cost us big time.
100%.
We love settling for the second option, and we love not overextending when the situation permits you to overextend, and it stung us. And then we have the issue with the players whereby we cling on to players too much. We take a punt on players that aren't good enough for the team, and it's just it just never ends well. And like Chris was saying, it could potentially be a vicious cycle. A new manager will come in and will give us that bounce, and will 1000% get us higher up the table. 1000%. I have
Which
no
is a
doubt.
problem that we can fix. That's a problem that can be fixed.
That's an immediate problem that can be fixed. But then the level that he gets to is capped at what Daniel Levy has to do with this club in terms of his strategy, his plan, scouting, etc., etc. So it all needs a revamp, and it's going to be painful for Spurs. It's going to be painful from the manager to the players to the board. It's going to be painful, but we have to do it.
It's going to be painful.
Can you imagine how much money that's going to cost? Can you imagine how much money?
Yeah, and that's that, and this is what I'm saying. He's dug us into this situation.
It's his job to get us out.
Yeah, had you behaved like a properly run club, not just off the pitch in terms of the books, but on the pitch in terms of player attrition, refreshing when the squad needed to be refreshed, selling players when they need to be sold, and going the extra mile for players that are genuinely attainable and not getting plan Bs, you wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah, exactly.
A blind man, fair enough. Jose Mourinho, you look at his CV, etc., but there was a reason why no other big club wanted Jose Mourinho before we came in. There was a reason why he got sacked at Man United. There was a reason why he was a pundit at Sky Sports. But again, Daniel Levy, he said, what would I rather do? Would I rather do the dirty work and replace the players that need to be replaced in this team? Or would I rather get a has-been manager, on the hope that he can regain the qualities that he had when his younger years, and come in and somehow propel this squad that's not good enough for top four into the top four and back where we were under Pochettino at our best. Risk averse.
It's exactly what I always say is at Tottenham Hotspur, there's a glass ceiling for every manager. And Maurizio Pochettino got to that glass ceiling. He was banging on that glass ceiling. The minute you get there, that's when you have too much ambition for the club. This is what needs to change. Every manager has that ceiling. The point is we've got to try and break that. But right now we're not even getting near it. So there is many problems there that we've got to do. Like we're not even getting near that ceiling.
Yeah. We all know who needs to go, but no one, half our fan base don't want to say it.
No, exactly. It's like that there are problems there, and for me, doing what we're doing and constantly getting like that quick fix manager is letting the board hide behind the manager. We've got to hold them accountable now. You have to revamp this squad. You have to, because we have proven to you that the deadwood is too dead right now. And I feel like hiding behind a cup final and then keeping Jose past that cup final is not going to cause them to make that rebuild that we need to do. And I feel like Tottenham fans don't want to admit that there is so many problems here due to what we've done with hiring Jose. They tried to make a quick fix, quickly put some sellotape over this squad and get a trophy. Ryan, I'm going to bring you in on this. What do you think needs to happen at Tottenham? Like, I know I already know your opinions, but like, what do you think we can do now? Like, what's the immediate thing that we do now? What steps do we go?
The first step is always the manager. It's always, no matter what, in any club, it's always the manager. So this club right now needs a simple factory reset from top to bottom. But like Chris said, it costs a lot of money to do them sort of things. But we do need a director of football. But then, do you trust Levy and people above Levy to give the director of football the freedom he wants to?
Well, that's why we lost Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always back and forth with stuff like that. We do need first of all, I think we need to get rid of a lot of players that we've got. Your Dyers, your Sanchez, Sissoko's at an age where you can move him on for a bit of money. Aurier, Docketer, like I say, there's so many. We're not going to get all that done in one window. I think that's what Tottenham fans we have to prepare ourselves for, because it's not going to happen in one summer. It's not going to happen in a season. We're going to have a couple of years now where we're constantly fighting, probably mainly for the domestic cups and hoping to squeeze into the top four. I think it's going to take a while, but it does need, from top to bottom, just a massive reset.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me, the only way around it is to go back to what we did at first when we got Poch. And it's unfortunate because we're going back in circles, but this is under Enoch. We have to also be realistic, because we're not going to sack Enoch. We are not going to sit here and sack Enoch. So realistically, you've got to think, how do we get around this? Do we do when Poch came in and clear out all the deadwood and bring in some youngsters, bring up some players and do it slowly again? The problem is with Tottenham, which is what I find is the problem with the board, when we have a player in their prime, so when we have a Harry Kane in our prime, we don't have the defence in their prime, because they don't reinvest the squad at the same time. Either one's too old the minute the one gets it, we get someone else in prime, or one's too young, and we never have that revamp altogether. And I think that's what I mean by ambition. As I say, there's a glass ceiling every manager has to achieve to even be near getting that sort of backing, and we're not getting near it. For me, what's Jose Mourinho shown for him to make this rebuild himself? Chris, do you think we should trust Jose Mourinho with a rebuild of the squad? Do you think he's that sort of manager? Because I personally don't.
I think it's very, very difficult. And what worries me as a Spurs fan right now is the likes of Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. If they're if they're in the changing room, I've no doubt, a number of times this season, particularly in the last couple of months, they've probably looked at their teammates and thought, they're not good enough for this team. Am I going to win trophies here? Where is this club going? We've seen Harry Kane say it a number of times. If he doesn't feel like the club is going in the right direction, then he may have to move. Yes, he wants that Jimmy Greaves record, but if I was Harry Kane, I'd certainly be looking at other avenues right now. And it pains me a lot to say that as a Spurs fan, because of course we want our best player at the club, but we've got to start showing ambition. We've got to start showing what we want from a football club. And the 1st of June 2019, I was very lucky to go to that Champions League final. And I'm sorry to bring Pochettino up again. I'm a huge fan of Pochettino. I was very sad when he left. But to take us to a Champions League final, after that, when you have a taste of something, getting so close to winning the ultimate prize in European football,
it's going to have a toll.
You have to build. You have to build from there. Yes, we've got this glorious new stadium. We all talk about it. Great stadium, great training facilities. We've got a manager who's won every cup in the land. We've got a couple of fantastic players. But it all needs to come together, and we all need to, be back to those great times again. But not winning a trophy in 13 years, it's way, way overdue, and we need those trophies in. But do I trust Jose Mourinho with a rebuild? It depends how much money he's going to get, because I have no doubt whatsoever that Jose Mourinho probably wanted X, Y, and Z players in the summer, but we got a different X, Y, and Z player in. Very, very different in quality. We've seen as football fans, Jose Mourinho manage various clubs spending multi-millions of pounds on top quality players, and he's always delivered at every club where he's been. So it depends on how much money he would be given to spend. But at the moment, Jose seems very confident in his job, and he seems so confident, like he's not going anywhere.
I mean, this is what Jose does, though. We all know what he's about. He could sit there and say, he said his coaching methods are second to none, and he's sitting in 9th in the table. So he's got the gift of the gab, that one. So I don't take anything he says as gospel, to be fair.
Do you know what, though, Eleanor? We're all Tottenham fans. We all have different opinions, but ultimately, we all want the same thing. We all want Tottenham Hotspur to win trophies. And, personally, I know lots of people are Jose out, including the three of you, but, I really want this to work for him, and I really want us to win that cup final on the 25th of April, take us to a Europa League final and win it, because I think, sadly, that is the only way that we are going to get Champions League football next season, because we won't be finishing in the top four.
I fear the minute we face someone decent in the Europa, we're out of that competition. That's my fear. And there are a lot of decent teams that I feel like we're underestimating. The way we talk is like we've got a free pass to the final is madness to me. When I'm not even confident playing Brighton away, let alone getting to a European Cup final when it's one of the longest competitions in football. Like, I just think that is quite mad of us to... The way we talk is like, oh, we got the Europa, we might get the Europa League trophy, we might do a double. Right, we can't even beat like people like Brighton and Fulham. Like, we can't even do that, let alone go in and winning a European trophy. To me, that's just madness.
But Eleanor, you talk about the manager change. Surely within the last few weeks, this ridiculous, poor run in the Premier League, surely Daniel Levy, the board, and Jose Mourinho have had a meeting about it. Surely.
Oh, 100%.
They've got to have spoken about it. And the way that Jose's speaking at the moment, it's like he's had this real vote of confidence from the board and Daniel Levy. What do you think on that?
I mean, that's a good point to bring up. But for me, we're talking about journalists like Matt Law. We're talking about really, really good journalists saying he's got 4 games left that are normally mouthpieces through the club. They're normally people that get information directly from clubs. He's not gonna tweet something or make a report out saying that Jose Mourinho's got 4 games to prove himself out of madness. This is someone with high credibility. So for me, it's like he's gonna say that because he's not gonna want to cause unrest with the fans and be like, yeah, he's gone. He's not gonna be like, yeah, I've got 4 games. And I feel like Jose Mourinho's very clever. Right at the end of Man United, all this confidence that he says emulates his time at the end of United. Don't know if any of you remember when he was near to the end there, but it was almost like, what can I do? These players, it's these players. What can I do? Toby, I'm going to come to you on that. What do you think on that? Do you think he's got a vote of confidence, or do you think there's definitely something going on? Because for me, there's too many journalists that are high credibility to be saying too much.
I think there is something going on, but I don't think it's to the extent that that Matt Law has said. I don't really rate Matt Law from a credibility point of view. I've seen him write stories about us in the past. I can't remember him off the top of my head, but they weren't really accurate. And he's more a guy who's in the know with Chelsea as opposed to Spurs. So from time Alistair Gold hasn't reported it, from time Dan Kilpatrick hasn't reported it as well. This 4-game thing. And I watched Alistair Gold's recent video yesterday. He didn't mention that Jose's got 4 games to save his bacon, but what he did talk about was that if the run continues, then surely Daniel Levy will be looking at Jose's position. And I feel like anyone who watches football will know that his job,
I think
it will become a point where his job will become untenable. And I think I saw some of the other stuff that was going around, the Athletics talking about the players' moods and stuff like that. And all of that stuff I take with a pinch of salt, man. And I like the Athletic. They write some good articles, but when they come up with this stuff about, oh, X player said this and that player said that, I instantly think, how do you know? How do you know? Like, I can't. This is why I'm saying I can't.
It all depends on the reporter with the Athletic. On who specifically said it.
Exactly. So I can't really trust some of these reporters when it comes to this, because we all know how much of a loving Daniel Levy has for this manager, how much Daniel Levy wanted him in the past. So I think it's literally gonna take Jose crashing and burning even more so than we have done this season for him to lose his job.
I just think that for me, I don't even think if the reports are true, I don't think the results are personally what he's got with these 4 games. I think it's playing as a team, getting this team together and actually looking like you can manage this group of players. I feel like that's what it is, irrespective to results, which is what we were talking about on Football Terrace today in the morning. We were saying that, to me, it's if he has lost his dressing room, it's can he get them back on his side? But it's all an if, because we don't know what is going on. I mean, Ben Davies came out today and totally disregarded what was reported. So, I mean, if there wasn't any unrest, I don't think you would need to say anything. So there's definitely something going on, because there's stuff coming out.
And Son did an interview like last week or something like that, or better yet, before the Wolfsburger game, and he rubbished claims of unrest and behind the scenes. I don't think he's lost the dressing room per se. I just think that he is not coaching these guys well enough for us to go about matches the way we should be going about matches. And I think, whilst I do hear your point around whether he can win some rumored parts of the dressing room that don't really like his methods, fundamentally his job will depend on how he performs the next couple of games, because by all accounts, like Chris said, apart from Arsenal away, you're not going to have an easier set of fixtures to pick up points from in Burnley at home, Palace at home, who somehow won yesterday despite having only 3 shots the whole game or something like that, and Newcastle away, who've got no Callum Wilson, can't defend, can't win, etc. So if he doesn't get results in some of these games, which I'm worried he won't, I'm worried this team won't, because I used to think we can, but I don't really trust this team enough to say, that's a banker. If he doesn't get results in these games, then of course Daniel Levy.
We don't have choice. Yeah,
we'll be stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he'll have to make a decision.
And then he has to make the decision to actually sort it out as well.
Exactly.
Because not a quick fix, because that's not going to work. We need to really go for it at this point. Brian, I'm going to come to you. What do you think on the whole Naglesmann stuff? Do you believe it? Do you think it's even possible to get him? What's your thoughts on the links right now? Because there was also links with Brendan Rodgers as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. We can definitely get someone like that. I think the main thing people don't take into thinking with a manager like that is he's coming to a team in London.
Yeah.
Anyone from different countries who's coming to England, their first choice will be London.
Yeah.
We aren't a small club, whatever Arsenal fans or Chelsea fans say. We are globally recognised. We've been Champions League regulars for years now. We haven't got the silverware to add to any of this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, Nagel is he's younger than James Milner. He's the manager. He's younger than James Milner. This is a challenge for a manager to come in, and try and make this team his own. Like I say, he's got years ahead of him yet for the Barcelonas, Bayern Munich's, Real Madrid.
Well, exactly.
It's not something. He's definitely someone we will go for when we need it. Someone we can get, but. Like I say, it all depends on what he's got to come in. Like when I say factory reset, one of them resets could be having to lose a Harry Kane or a Son. If you lose one of them before getting a new manager in, that's going to really lower your chances of any type of big manager coming in. But either him or Brendan Rodgers, that's who I would. Yeah, like I know I said Nuno before, and Toby shot me down for it.
We're not getting Mourinho 2.0 because that's what we're about right now.
Toby's not trusted me since I've said that, so I won't mention him again. But
I totally. I think it's possible. For me, it's more of assuming Real Madrid go get Raul, which they've said they probably will, and no other major Premier League clubs back their managers, and buy and keep Flick. All these things need to happen, and then we can swoop in and offer this big job. Yes, it's a big job, but the expectation here is different to Man United. Man United fans are going to want you to come in and challenge for the title instantly, whereas our job is a different job. And I feel like if he wants to get his foot in the door in the Premier League at a big club, but without that much pressure, and again with Chelsea, if you don't perform, you are sacked immediately. Like Roman has no give, and I feel like again that's another reason why he didn't straight away go to a team like that. So for me, that's the reason why we have a chance. Chris, I'm going to come to you. Do you think we have a chance in getting Nagelsmann? Because loads of rivals tell me I'm mental for even thinking he would look at us.
Well, when you think back to when Jose Mourinho come in, surely that conversation would have taken place between him, Daniel Levy, and the board, saying, I'm going to need X, Y, and Z. I'm going to need to fix this squad. I'm going to need to rebuild this squad. You know, exactly what Pochettino said, that the squad needed to be rebuilt. Jose Mourinho has brought new players in, but I'm sure that he thinks that he needs more new players. similar to if a new manager was to come in now, surely they're going to have that conversation, that same conversation again as what Jose's had, saying, I'm going to need, a couple of new centre backs. I'm going to need a creative midfielder. I'm going to need this.
Yeah.
And is it going to be music to Daniel Levy's ears to say, I need all these players and I'm going to need to spend all this money, regardless of who is manager? Naglesmann, though, as a manager, absolutely fantastic. I was watching a documentary the other day. It stated what a fantastic job he'd done at Hoffenheim and of course RB Leipzig.
Yeah.
And he looks the real deal, and he looks like he plays great attacking football. And we've seen that with Leipzig last season in the Champions League against us.
Yeah.
He plays great attacking football, and he plays the Tottenham way. I think he would be a perfect fit for Spurs.
Yeah.
But as I say, it just worries me about the investment side of things, and it worries me as well with some of our quality players possibly leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that, and I do get that, but we do have to take into account that Jose Mourinho factored in that he could get top 4 and a cup with this current squad. So for me, he overestimated the squad when coming in, and that was a big problem. And don't get me wrong, we all did it. I did it personally because they just made a Champions League final, and I personally thought getting rid of Poch can fix a lot of these issues. It shows evidently not, but I do think he kind of, in my opinion, agreed, because he thought, right, listen, you've got Harry Kane, Son, you've got Lloris, you've got, at the time, Toby didn't look that as finished as he did, and we had Jan. I mean, it obviously looked like we had a better situation than we did from the outside. And I feel like he came in thinking, I can get this team up there, I can get this team top 4 easily, and I can win a cup. And he still might win a cup. But I'm just saying that I think he overestimated the amount of rebuild we do need. And I think the board just took the cheap way out and tried to cover it up. Toby, I know you have a different opinion on this. You don't think we have much of a chance of getting Naglesmann. So yeah, we're gonna come to you.
Yeah, I only think we have a chance with Naglesmann if, like you said, the bigger clubs don't come in. Because as I think size-wise, we're bigger than Leipzig. They've literally only existed for they've not even
2009, I think.
I think even later than that. They've not
mad anyway.
Yeah, they've not existed for a long time. So in terms of stature, yes, we are bigger. Yes, we are London-based. We can afford to pay him much more. Because Mourinho on 15 million a year, Poch was on 12 million a year. So if you're looking at it in black and white, of course he could come to Spurs, but then you have to take into consideration that he has an excellent scouting setup at Leipzig. He has in Leipzig a team who are consistent Champions League participants, and it's just he's probably thinking, you know what, I can either continue to build up my experience here and play at the highest club competition level. But then with Leipzig, we also know that they're also a club where their best players get cherry picked anyway. Upamecano's gone to Bayern. Timo Werner went to Chelsea last year, so it's very much a stepping stone club. Even Sabitzer, one of the best midfielder, credible sources were reporting his interest in coming to Spurs, and this is when we're in our worst form, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
So there is the allure of him jumping from Leipzig to Spurs, but I just think his trajectory right now is only going one way, and that's up. And I can see clubs like Real Madrid looking for him. If Zidane doesn't do well, I can see clubs like Barcelona sniffing around for him because the Koeman project is failing. And I just feel like whereas the Spurs job hopefully will be available for him, there will be bigger jobs also available for him. So it's all pretty well us saying that he may want to wait and try a different challenge at Spurs where there's under sort of less pressure. But at this point in time, after having Maurizio Pochettino and having Jose Mourinho, I feel like there's also pressure at Spurs. There's pressure at Spurs to rebuild the team. There's pressure at Spurs to get us back into the Champions League. And there is an ever-growing pressure for us to end this trophy drought. So I don't think it is not laid back, but I don't think it's as sort of risk-free as some of the other jobs. So if he knows that he's still having to do all this work at Spurs, but he's also going to have to do all this work at Real Madrid. But they're Real Madrid. He's going to choose Real Madrid. He's going to choose Barcelona. So for me, managers like him and Rodgers, right now, I would love them at Spurs, but they're just not realistic. And the only way for you to make me believe they're realistic is if you actually go out there and get them. Otherwise, until that happens, I'm not going to believe it's going to happen.
I just think I do get that. It's got, like I say, everything's got to fall into place to get him. We've got to hope Real Madrid, if like they have said, they'll get Raúl in or Allegri in, as they've said, one of them, and Barca don't sack their manager and another major Premier League club doesn't come in for them, and then we can swoop in. There's a lot of factors that have to fall in line, in my opinion,
Toby,
to swoop in.
Who's realistic? Harry Redknapp?
Yeah, I was about to
I don't
go
want
on
Harry.
to that.
I don't want Harry Redknapp.
So who do you? I was going to go on to that, Tobes. Who do you think is realistic?
They'll tell me he got 9-0, etc., etc. But Ralph Hasenhüttl,
he's a strong Hasenhüttl loyalty fan.
Do not say that man's name.
Because they lost 3-0 again today. So that's one that's realistic. But I can understand why fans wouldn't want him. And whilst I do have my reservations, I like his ability to coach players. I like his ability to maximize what he has available, because that Southampton team is awful. I know people can make the comparison and say, oh no, but Spurs team is not like that. Southampton team is awful. And to even get them in the position that he's got them to. And when you look at what he did at Leipzig as well, I think he's someone who you would look at as a possible manager. Ten Hag at Ajax, I think that would be a good appointment. But then again, he's only been in the Dutch league and stuff like that, so he's not really been tested in the other leagues. So any manager is a risk. That's what I want people to understand now. No manager is foolproof success. From time, arguably the greatest manager of his generation in Jose Mourinho is floundering like this. From time Pochettino was even Poch, who I wanted to stay, was underperforming to such a bad extent in his last 10 months of the job. It tells you that no manager is going to be an instant success in this situation at Spurs. But someone like Ralph Hasenhüttl, he has coaching qualities that I really admire, and his ability to make do with the situation he has. If you were to put him in a situation where he's got more money, more say in transfers, this is assuming Enoch do the right thing and actually then there's potential there for him to do big things at Spurs. Same way there's potential for Nagelsmann to do big things, etc., etc. So it's all there. It's all there to play for if the top level are aligned in what they really want us to become.
I mean, I get that. I'm not totally against the Ralph appointment, because I get it. I do get the problem in it. But
Rodgers
Ryan,
as well, but he's not realistic. Sorry, I forgot to mention Rodgers.
And him as well.
He'll be prime number one target, but I don't think he'll be Leicester.
I mean, I get that. Ryan, you go on. You don't want Ralph, do you?
I'm just personally, I'm just not a fan. Like I say, he's not someone I want. The problem for me is I don't really look at who I want. Like, I want Rodgers or Naglesmann if we was to get rid of Mourinho. But if you go on the some betting pages, like I say, the name that is I think his third favourite as a new manager is Steven Gerrard. I don't know how, but like I say, it's just names. I think it's him, Rafa Benitez, and Diego Simeone after Nagelsmann. So when you look at managers like that, there's not someone there, probably apart from Nagelsmann and Gerrard, young enough to come in and do what majority of the fans want. Like I said, if you get a Benitez in, he's the same. He's not a manager who's going to come in and say, give me 5 years. Simeone can, but I don't think that's the sort. Not really the football we've been wanting. He doesn't really play that type of football either.
Well, we're gonna go. I mean, I rate him, but it won't be the attacking football.
No, I just want. If we are like Toby said, if we want to make a statement and we want to push the club further, then you will go out and do everything you can to get the manager that you want. You don't go for your third or fourth choice. You will push the boat out and get your number one choice. If that's Nagelsmann, then do everything you can to get him in.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've done this on the cheap. They have got us in this mess. As a board, they tried to cover it up, which in turn cost them more money because they have more damage control to do. It's their own fault.
If you sack Mourinho, how much budget will the next manager have? Because apparently, it's 30 million or
exactly.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
but I did hear something, or don't quote me. I don't know if this is true, but I did hear a lot if he doesn't meet his targets. So I don't know if this is why we're waiting till the end of the season. If he doesn't meet his targets, he takes a pay cut. I don't know how much, and I don't know what the bonuses are. I don't know how true that is. But I did hear something, so I'm banking on that. But that's just me being hopeful. Chris, what do you think in terms of next managers? Do you think we have a chance? Oh, I know I've asked you about Naglesmann, but what do you think about Ralph and obviously the next managers that Ryan has mentioned, like Simeone and stuff? What do you think on that?
I think Brendan Rodgers would be a good fit. I think for Premier League experience, I think is key. But personally, I think Jose Mourinho is going to turn this around. I think that we're going to get back to winning ways. I think that we're going to win against Burnley on Sunday, and then of course win the Europa League game tomorrow. And with those two wins, we're going to have massive confidence. And then it's all about going on that run. And then the Fulham game after, as Brian said earlier, all these games are very winnable. I think that crunch game would be the Arsenal away game. But if we can start putting some results together, we can go on a good run. Whether we'll get top four or not is another big debate and a big argument. I can't see it at the moment because I think that all of the other teams around us are picking up points, far more than we have in the last 6. So, but to talk about new managers, that's why I'm sat on the fence. I have no idea how this situation will pan out. I really don't. It's a very, very difficult one because will Jose Mourinho get the time? Be very interesting. If you get a new manager in, will he get the time? Will he get the money? Will he want to come? Someone like Naglesmann, if he came in and he said to Daniel Levy, right, I want, X amount of money. We need this. We need this. We need this. Will Daniel Levy welcome that? It seems that we always want to do things a certain way. And if you've got a manager coming in saying, well, I need this, 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 it depends what we are going for. Do we want to be Premier League title contenders? Do we want to be in the top 4 every year? Or do we want to challenge for the FA Cup, the League Cup, or whatever?
But I mean, what if we keep Jose? What are we doing now? Because that's what I'm confused at. When people say, "I don't know if I want Jose Mourinho out," I don't know what the vision is now. What's the vision now? Just win a cup.
What saddens me is the fact that we were a constant Champions League team in that top 4, and that's where we need to be. And it seems that we are a million miles away from that now. We're 9 points away from 4th place West Ham. There's teams around us that don't look like
it's West Ham. The fact that it's West Ham is annoying because we definitely have a better squad than them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a managerial thing.
We need to start showing intent. And if we're feeling like this as fans, as I said earlier, the likes of Harry Kane, do you want to stay at a club like that? Because do you want to win the Premier League? Do you want to win the big trophies? Be in Champions League football year in, year out? I know if I was Harry Kane, I certainly would do. So it'll be very interesting as well, even if Jose Mourinho keeps his job, at the end of the season, if we won a League Cup, does the likes of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son say, well, we've won a trophy now, we may as well leave? If we don't win a trophy, they're going to say, well, actually, we're not going to win a trophy. And are the club showing intent for next season to go on and push to be title contenders? Because as we've all said, this rebuild, the amount of money that we are going to need for this rebuild, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son's ages right now, they haven't got long left in their career at peak. So it's big decisions for the football club at the moment.
I think ambition leaks from the top. If the top has ambition, we have ambition, and it leaks, and the players can feel that. Like when we were on the brink of something under Pochettino, I think Harry Kane stayed because it looked like we're on the brink of something good. Like there's hope there. But the minute
that's
now,
what's so frustrating,
like
being so close. Being so
100%,
close.
100%. I mean, I'm not saying Poch didn't make any mistakes. Of course he did. He could have easily won a cup. But I'm just saying that like ambition leaks. The feel around the club leaks through, and I feel like now they can see the fact that ENIC are not on that same ambition level as these players. But we know. I'm going to come to Toby in a second, and then we'll start to wrap up. But we know that, in my opinion, I think they need Champions League. A League Cup isn't going to cut it for me. For these top players that should be playing top flight European football, on that, do you think if he wins a League Cup, they're staying?
Who, Kane and Son?
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough. I think
I agree.
it'll be like Chris said initially. It'll be good that they finally got that trophy. Trophy monkey.
They'll feel like they've done something at Spurs.
Off their back. But I feel like Son 28 going 29, Harry Kane 27 going 28. They want to be playing in the Premier competition. They want to be. They want to be in with a chance to win the bigger prizes. They want to be in with a chance to win more trophies. And whilst I'm not completely ruling out the fact that one trophy could spark off that series, that possible series of trophy wins, domestic trophy wins. I feel like at this stage in Son and Kane's career, they want guaranteed success. And I feel like Son, on 2 years left on his deal, come the end of this season, I think there'll be clubs sniffing around for him. I think whereas they might be reluctant to pay maybe like 150 million for Kane on 3 years after his contract, they might be willing to pay 80 to 100 million for Son with 2 years left on his contract, especially if he comes out and says, "Yeah, I want to leave." And he's one of the top wide men in world football. Instant success. I mean, instant impact if they buy him. So versatile, can play a number of positions as well. So for me, I don't think the League Cup will be enough to match either of their ambitions. I just don't think it will.
And that was a big thing when Harry Kane came out and said that. He said, as long as the board match my ambitions, then I'll stay. But the minute that doesn't happen, then I'll go. And I feel like we've kind of shown we don't have that ambition. Like we are not league title contenders right now. And I think that's what they deserve.
Yeah, I know obviously we're in a much better position now. New stadium, more top four finishes, etc. But I just look at the season when we won the League Cup in 07-08 with Berbatov, Robbie Keane and whatnot. They still left the following summer. They left.
Oh,
They still left. They still left the following summer. So for me, it
just shows, isn't it?
It just shows that yes, the League Cup will be great for us as fans, and we'll celebrate it, of course. But I still can't, just because of how much I know that Champions League football, just because of how important I know Champions League football will be in terms of not only keeping players, but injecting money into this club and giving the better players who can improve our team more of an excuse to come to us. I can't call this season a success. I just can't.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're just going to quickly round off now. We're going to go, score predictions against Burnley. I'm going to go, like I've said on your channel yesterday, Chris, that I'm going to go 1-0 to us. I don't think it's going to be very hard to break them down. And I don't think we got high scoring abilities right now. I don't see it being like a 3-0 or anything. And the way they both set up. We set up very similar. I think it's going to be a pretty boring game, but I think we have enough quality to get the winner. But hopefully we won't concede. I'd like to think for once we'd get a clean sheet. And I think we have the quality to nullify them. But I'm going to go to Chris. What do you think on the Burnley game?
I think we've got to win. We have to win. I'm going to go for 2-0. I think we've got more than enough quality in our squad. And, these bad runs have to come to an end at some point. I think this is it. And I think that, if we win on Sunday, it's all about putting this, good run together now and, going on to the end of the season, getting as many points as we can.
Yeah, I agree. Toby, what do you think? You're muted.
Sorry, I thought we were going to win, but I'm shaky. I just, I don't. I think we should win. I think we should win, but it's very hard to predict that this team will do the most minimum of tasks these days. So I'm gonna go for Spurs to win 2-1. I think we'll create some chances, but I think our defense will let us down as per. I'm gonna go for 2-1. Yeah, 2-1 win.
Fair enough. Ryan, what do you think on this game?
I'm going 3-1 to us. I'm same as Toby. The defence, I do not trust them to keep Burnley out. I think they'll get bullied. by the bigger strikers.
3 goals, though. 3 goals. That's expecting us to score 3 times.
Yeah, I think, Kane's had a couple of games without scoring now, so I think he'll be a bit.
It's due.
Yeah, he gets a bit annoyed when he, like the last game against West Ham, he had 4 chances that usually by his standards he would have put 2 of them away. So I do think we'll get the win 3-1, but like I said, the defence I still don't trust to keep out Burnley.
Yeah. I totally agree. On I'd like to think we're going to keep out a clean sheet, but I can understand not. But yeah, we'll leave it there. And thank you so much for joining me. That was a really lovely chat. Chris, where can everyone find you? I'm sure everyone knows already, but just in case they don't.
Yeah, I run a Tottenham Hotspur related YouTube channel called Tottenham Hotspur Fan Chris Cowley.
Yep, and on Twitter, where it's just Chris Cowling, isn't it? On
it's just
Twitter.
Chris Cowling, yeah, just simple as that.
Yeah, definitely go follow because it's brilliant content. Ryan, where can everyone find you?
At Ryan Madden 1991 on Twitter, at Officials5 Twitter handle for the podcast that myself and Eleanor do, and the YouTube channel 5th Officials as well, where it's just an hour of either Eleanor or Tanya ranting and raving and kicking off about whatever's happening at Tottenham.
And the occasional rival fan when we want to get them on to also hopefully we can laugh at them soon, but we're not doing any laughing right now. Tobes, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, tap in Tobes on YouTube, so that's my YouTube channel, and on Instagram and on Twitter as well. So literally just one word, TAPINTOBS.
Definitely go check out all the great content. And this is where we wave and I awkwardly press end broadcast until it actually ends. Bye.